Let's start the podcast. You're listening to Off the Cliff Sports. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks. By the time you hear this podcast, we'll be down to the Elite Eight, so it'll be 8 teams left. This tournament's been pretty good. Not a lot of upsets, but it's been kind of exciting. There's players that people want to see in this tournament, so it's making things a little more interesting. Remember, you can reach us Twitter at Cliff_Sports, Instagram OfftheCliff_Sports. Of course, OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com to catch up on all the old episodes. And also, you can find the episodes on YouTube as well. Check it out while you have a chance. I want to thank all our listeners out there. Thank all the everyday Joes and the everyday Janes. I do this because I do want to be a voice for the everyday person. All of us out there that were not professional athletes. But we watch just like they watch. We can see what they see. So, hey, Off the Cliff Sports is made for us. We're going to get into the NCAA. By the time you hear this recording, we'll be down to the Elite Eight. So far, things are going as according to plan. Most of the top seeds are winning. The only really Cinderella we had was the Oregon Ducks, and they actually got knocked out Thursday night. So, pretty much everybody else is the top 1 through 5 seeds, so they all have the ability to be good or great possibly. I still think Duke is the team that's going to win because they got the best 2 players in college ball on their team. Some people say I'm crazy and they say North Carolina is going to be the team to win, but I guess we'll see come Friday night, and if they make it to Saturday, the Elite Eight, Saturday and Sunday, we'll see how things play out. I am impressed with how some of the teams, Michigan State, Purdue, those teams are shooting the ball very well, which Purdue was a Final Four pick of mine, and I was like, they kind of shaky. But so far, they've been looking pretty good, so I think I might have made a good solid pick there as a Final Four surprise pick. On the ladies' sides, all the top seeds are still in there, and they're winning as normal. More times than not, the top 1 or 2 seeds in each region in the ladies are going to make it to the Final Four. Very seldom you see that upset of a 4, 5, 6 or below seed getting to the Final Four in ladies basketball. It's very much a top-heavy sport. So we got good things going in the NCAA. NHL and the NBA are coming down to the playoff push. Both leagues got less than 10 games. I think actually most of them got less than 7 or 6 games left. So both of those are about to get into the best part of their season, the playoffs, and where fans can really get tuned in, because right now it's one of those win the series or go home type things. In the NHL, the Tampa Bay Lightning has the best record in hockey. They have a very good team, and they have the best record by about 8 games. Now, when it comes to playoff hockey, though, if you have a strong goalie, whether you're the best team or not, if your goalie is strong and he catches a hot streak, you can overcome the best team. Right now, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 2 points behind Montreal in the East for the final playoff spot. So there's where the battle is going on in the East. On the western side of things, Colorado and Arizona are tied for the last spot. But you have Minnesota only 2 points out as well. So that's going to be interesting to see which 2 of those 3 teams can sneak into the playoffs and try to do something from those 6, 7, and 8 seed spots. It'll be kind of interesting. I like playoff hockey because it actually gets serious. The only thing I dislike about playoff hockey, you don't see as many fights. Regular season, you're going to see the fights. And in playoff hockey, it's like they know, okay, I can't get thrown out the game. I need to be in the game. So don't see as much of the good stuff. So we will see how the NHL pans out. We're going to see if one of those teams from above the border up in Canada can take home that trophy, or is it going to be one of the U.S. teams that take it home? I think Tampa will get there. I don't know who they're going to play on the other side though. Haven't watched enough hockey to tell you. So that's where we're at. Let's talk a little NBA action. And the Milwaukee Bucks have the best record in the NBA. A shocker to me. But I still think the Golden State Warriors are the best team in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors are going to go into the playoffs healthy. They have a healthy Steph Curry, and that could be dangerous for the rest of the league. I honestly think Golden State could sweep these playoffs if they play up to their potential. A lot of people, a lot of analysts are saying, hey, this year they're vulnerable. I don't see it though. To be honest with you, I think DeMarcus Cousins bring an element. They could play big ball, or they can take him out of the game and play small ball, and they could be dangerous. So we're going to see what the West has in store for the Warriors, but I think it's going to be a lackluster NBA playoffs. The Pistons, the Magic, the Heat, and the Hornets are fighting for the last two spots in the East. It's up and down. Some of those teams you're like, do they really want to be in the playoffs or do they want to be in the lottery? But they kind of got caught up. I'm surprised at how well the Magic has played this year. That's my surprise team. And I think the Pistons are a little overrated. If you ask me, I think the Magic and the Heat are going to get those final two spots. I think those are teams that could do a lot better in the playoffs. The Hornets are just teasing people. Michael Jordan is going to have to do a better job with that team. He has to figure something out. On the Western side, all the teams that are going to be in the playoffs are already set for the most part. Now it's just trying to figure out the seeding. Pretty much 4 through 8 is up for grabs. At last check, the Spurs was in the 8th spot. The Oklahoma City Thunder was in the 7th spot. But it changes every day right now between all those teams. Seeding is important. You do not want Golden State in the first round. So if you get the 2nd or the 3rd, you get the 7th or the 6th seed, you're in a good spot. So most of those teams are definitely going to be fighting to try to get out that 8th spot and facing those Warriors. Now, if the Warriors happen to slip up and be the 2nd seed, it's going to really confuse a lot of people. But don't be fooled. Even if the Denver Nuggets win the West regular season, they're not the best team. I don't think they have the defense to match up with Golden State. They can score the ball, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to make those big stops. And I don't know if they have the players that can stop Mr. Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. We're going to see how that pans out, though. Playoffs should start in about, I think, a week and a half to 2 weeks. So NBA playoffs, here we come. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball when we come back. You're listening to Off the Cliff Sports with your host, Cliff Jacks. Be back in a few seconds. Off the Cliff Sports. So, Thursday opened up the regular season for Major League Baseball, and they have 162 games. They'll play into October. So if you're a baseball fan, you got to be excited about that. I'm going to try to catch more games this year than I did last year. I didn't watch a lot of baseball last year. My hometown team, the Texas Rangers, they suck. Bottom line, they suck. And they opened the season this year with a 12-4 loss to the Chicago Cubs. A lot of Cubs fans down this way, so you could hear the roar from anywhere. Elvis Andrus, though, hit a 2-run home run, and he came to the plate with the music for Baby Shark. That was the talk of the town. That's how bad the game was. I can tell you that the Dodgers tied a Major League Baseball record by hitting 8 home runs on Thursday in one game. So they had an offensive explosion. Which I can tell you, a long season ahead, and there's been a lot of injuries to start the season. So that's how baseball is. So they have a lot of players they can call up and down, and star players get hurt, star players sit out some. Right now, the San Francisco Giants have the oldest roster in baseball. The San Diego Padres have the youngest, and they also signed Manny Machado to a real big contract. We'll see if that pays off for the Padres or not. The Boston Red Sox, one of the best teams in baseball and the defending champs, they have the highest payroll in baseball. So money does buy championships in some sports. Money buys championships in most sports. Who am I kidding? I would like to see the Rangers do well, but there's a lot of baseball teams out there that's going to be up and down. I think the Astros, the Red Sox are probably the teams to beat this year. But I think the Phillies are going to have something to say about it, especially after signing Bryce Harper. We'll see how well they turn out and how that plays for them during the season. I know you guys want to get to the top of the cliff. I love that segment of the show. So we should just go ahead and get to it. Let's get into the top of the cliff segment. I know last week on the top of the cliff segment, I invited Privilege to the top of the cliff. And during my little rant, I said some things about I believe everybody is a little racist on the inside. I wholeheartedly stand by that in my own opinion. And again, it is my opinion. Everybody doesn't feel that way. I had a couple people tell me I don't feel I'm racist. So I can't tell anybody else how they feel or whether they're racist or not. I can tell people what I see and what I feel on the inside. But I love the conversation. It's great that we can have those conversations. So that's a good place to be. This week on the top of the cliff, we're going to invite the good old Commissioner Roger Goodell, and along with Roger, we're going to invite the NFL Rules Committee to the top of the cliff. This week, the NFL decided to allow pass interference calls or pass interference non-calls to be reviewed if the coaches would like to make a challenge. All of this is based on controversy from the NFC Championship game and a penalty that was not called. These guys gave in to a lot of peer pressure, one from the fans, which is warranted, but I think some of the owners, I don't think all the owners, put this pressure down on them. And Roger Goodell, because he is a yes guy and try to make sure whether he knows it's right or knows it's wrong to do whatever he feels that the NFL owners would want him to do. So he's all about satisfying his bosses, all of them, in some form or fashion. Pass interference being reviewed is not a good thing because now there's opportunities for us to have reviews on plays that are unnecessary. If a coach is pissed off in a game, he feels that his team is getting shafted, he might just say, hey, I want to review that play, just to waste time and just to show the referees, hey, I got the power to do it, so why not do it? A buddy of mine, Kenny from Brooklyn, he texted me and said, this rule is stupid and it's going to soon have football games lasting 4-5 hours. I kind of agree with Kenny. It could definitely extend the games with coaches calling pass interference on plays that was away from the ball and all type of things of that nature. We're going to see, but I want the NFL Rules Committee and Roger Goodell to join me on the top of the cliff. Like I always tell people, whatever you do when you get to the top of the cliff, it's your business. Hey, that's your top of the cliff segment this week. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope the NFL can get stable because right now it's an unstable league and the leadership, Roger Goodell, is not the best person for the job. It's time for those owners to realize that we need to move in a different direction. That's Cliff Jack's opinion. Remember, what's your opinion? Hey, we're going to come back and good old A-Train is going to conversate with us a little bit on some NFL and some AAF football. Off the Cliff Sports. Rob Gronkowski retired as a member of the New England Patriots over the week. 9 seasons, 3 Super Bowls. Is he one of the best tight ends of all time? I don't think so. You got Shannon Sharp. You got Tony Gonzalez. You got Antonio Gates. So you got some tight ends for him to compete with. He was one of the most dominant players of all time. Matchup nightmare. But I think the injury-prone career, in my case, would stop him from being the best tight end of all time. Let me get A-Train set up here and let's ask him a couple questions. He a football savant. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, we're here with A-Train. He called in today to give us his feedback on some NFL action. And first question I got for you, what do you think of Gronk retiring so soon?
His knees are about 65 years old, so I don't blame him. Now, me personally, I think he did this because somebody else is going to retire. Either it's going to be Brady before the season, Belichick, or both of them. They all three pretty close. I feel like somebody's going to retire, and I feel like he just, he went on ahead and got the ball rolling and did it first.
He does get injured every year, so he's not reliable. But when he is out there playing, he normally is unguardable.
That's true. But he also plays for the Patriots, so their system is set up for success in whatever position they play.
Yeah, and I don't think Brady's going anywhere. I think Tommy Terrific is trying to win 10 Super Bowls, and I think he's going to play until he gets to 10.
He can get 10 this year if Mahomes doesn't grow this season and the rest of the team doesn't grow with him. It's possible. But if Mahomes, I think that's going to be the roadblock for him.
Oh, so you're saying the Chiefs is going to take out the Patriots and get to the Super Bowl?
They can. If they upgrade their defense, the defense is good, but if they can upgrade it just a little bit more, they have the ability to beat the Patriots. That was the deciding factor, that defense.
Yeah. I believe my Broncos and the San Diego Chargers going to have a lot to say about that this year.
They ain't worried about it.
Von Miller, Bosa, they're going to have a lot to say about Mr. Mahomes this year. He had his first year in great, but now can he take it the next step?
Yeah, that's the thing. If he can take it the next step, since people have film on him now, but he's still an unpredictable player, so he can do that. He can probably be there for the next few years until people see enough film, but I ain't worried about Bosa or no Von Miller. They're great, don't get me wrong, but it take 11 men. They don't get there in time and their backside slipping. Hey, the receiver's open, and he's going to throw it. He'll throw between his legs 30 yards. So.
All right, Broncos and Chief fans out there, y'all heard what he said. He's not worried about two of the powerhouses of the AFC West. He's all on the Mahomes bandwagon. He might want to worry about his running back and receiver positions.
Hey, the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they all right, man. I can't name a receiver on their team, but they got sure hands from what I've seen.
The Cheetah might not be able to play for a few games.
Hey, that might happen too.
So I got another question for you. All right, so another question for you, A-Train. The NFL Rules Committee has implemented a new pass interference rule where you can challenge a pass interference call that you don't think was pass interference or challenge a call that was not called at all. What do you say about this? Because right now I'm thinking they gave in to pressure of one game and one play.
This should have already been in the rules. If I can challenge a spot on the field, first down, yardage, if I can challenge that, I should be able to challenge something that will really change the game like a pass interference, especially in crunch time. And I think they need to be able to challenge under 2 minutes on this call. It shouldn't be like you can't challenge within 2 minutes because most of these calls happen under 2 minutes on purpose because if you can get away with it, you can't challenge it, you can't do anything. But yeah, I think it's good, but I'm worried about how it's going to be implemented.
I don't like the fact that if you challenge, you're going to slow the game down because there are going to be some plays get challenged that everybody's like, why are you wasting time doing that? I think they should have gave the referees the power, just like on intentional grounding, and group up together. Hey, I might have missed a little something. What do y'all see on that? And call the penalty just like they do intentional grounding. They group up. Okay, yeah, that was a penalty. Throw the flag. What's wrong with that scenario?
But see, the problem is all the referees aren't watching the same thing. So when you group up, what they're grouping up to do is they're going to ask the referee that saw it, are you sure this is the right call? That's what they're grouping up for. So they're not making a group decision because if only one referee saw it and we all grouping up, we just trying to make sure that he thinks it's correct and then we want to go with his call.
So it sounds like we need more referees on the field.
We need more eyes, or that's why we got reviews, so then they can go up and they can actually look at it and make a sound call. So
now I know you were saying off air that you think they should give more challenges. I really don't like the idea of giving more challenges, but I did think about what if each coach had one challenge per quarter? How would that work out?
See, I like that. So you get one challenge per quarter. If you miss the first challenge, you have no more challenges for that half, but you get another one in the second half. If you make it, then you add a second challenge for that quarter. So you can challenge again within a quarter, or you can hold it, then you have that challenge flag plus the second quarter challenge flag. So you potentially have, 3 to 4 challenge flags in your pocket. And honestly, you're not going to be challenged that much unless you're trying to actually stop the clock, which is another tactic that can be used.
To stop momentum.
Right, to slow momentum. So, it comes with its drawbacks, but it also can be an awesome game plan, too. So I think it can be a good thing for the game.
I mean, I know in tennis, I'm relating football to tennis. I know that's wild. But in tennis, they have a lot of challenges. But the best part about it, they just use a laser system to tell whether the ball was in or out, and you don't have to worry about a judgment call by human eyes. We need to get, I think, more cameras on the field.
See, and that's true. Now, the issue with the laser system in the NFL game is too many people on the sidelines, so it's going to get messed. It's not going to be as accurate. Tennis, you don't touch the court. You don't come close to the court. There's no fans on the court. It's too many people, too much going on.
But you can put a chip inside of those footballs. That's my other thing. Why is there not a chip inside the ball? And the ball, GPS guided chip, going to tell you, okay, the ball is right here. The technology is there, and we just too cheap to use it when they're billionaires.
I do. The technology is there, but then it's going to be it's not the same game. There's going to be a lot of old school pushback, just like with anything else that's new. I do think that would be a great idea to be as accurate as possible, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. That's a few generations away from now. So
I have a few more questions for you. We'll try to get to before the episode ends. So don't go anywhere, A-Train. All right, as I told you guys, we was going to have A-Train stick around with us and talk some more football. We're going to talk about the AAF right now, and Johnny Football made his debut last week. What you thought about Johnny and his newfound football success in his third football league?
I think he looked okay, man. He looked all right. I watched some highlights on him. He had a couple of good runs. Looked like he was back at Texas A&M having fun. A few good throws here and there, but I mean, he got to adjust. It's still football, so he can't come in there and just start slinging it around and running the offense. So he did okay.
Do you think he's going to get frustrated with the talent level of the guys he's playing with now compared to the pros and the Canadian players who probably are a notch above most of these players?
Honestly, he doesn't have the authority to feel offended or upset or frustrated. He needs to focus on being consistent and as a professional football player. So he needs to be grateful for his opportunity and take advantage of it. Make them better. If he's that good of a professional, make them better as a quarterback.
So the league has 10 games. They're going into game 8 this coming up weekend. Do you think Johnny is going to get to start one of these last 3 games?
No, I mean honestly, yeah. I mean he might probably next game or the last game he might come in and start. He might even get the second half this game, but I don't think he's going to start right now.
I mean, Memphis is trash though. He got to be better than what they got.
They are trash, but it isn't solely on. It isn't the quarterback. That's not why they're trash. Quarterback's okay.
No, he's trash. Their quarterback's trash.
Johnny still got to learn. He still got to learn the playbook, man. It just depends on how quick he can pick up the information and what he can do with it and what he's doing in practice. So it just depends on the speed that he can process what he needs to know. So if he can do that quickly, he may actually start next week, but we'll see.
I just hope Mike Singletary keeps his job, because if he can't make it in the AAF, I don't think head coaching is for him. I don't believe at this point.
Man, I love Michael Singletary, man, but head coaching, man, I don't think that's his thing. Like, he's a great guy. He likes building character in players. He likes building men, which is great, and I think he'll make a great coordinator. But I just something about him being a head coach just doesn't pan out, man.
Everybody's not built for it.
No.
Sticking with the AAF theme, I hear they're having some money troubles, and their top donor is saying that if the NFL Players Association doesn't help with players, that he may back out and the league is going to fold. I see a lot of trouble on the horizons. What do you think they need to do to fix this problem?
I think that's a bluff. I think it's a bluff, man. The AAF is actually doing pretty good this season, so it will help to have the support of the Players Association to have access to the higher talent, but they don't need it. But I think it's a bluff. They're just trying to get more involvement in the NFL. They're trying to secure their spot as the NFL's minor league. So that's just another way to secure that. And I think that them actually being able to move the championship to Dallas or to Frisco, that's going to help with that as well. But it's a bluff.
Oh, so you think he's just trying to blow smoke and trying to get more news coverage?
Yeah, it's a tactic, man. It's just like the stock markets, Got tactics. You're trying to you're trying to ride the stock. You're trying to get people to respond to you. So I think it's a bluff, man.
So I'm a wrestling fan. So I wouldn't say faith, but I believe in Vince McMahon because I've seen how profitable wrestling is. I feel that all these negative news coverages is going to hurt the AAF once the XFL takes effect next year.
I don't think so, man. They're just in their early stages, so they're vulnerable. When just like the XFL, they had their first year, they were vulnerable. I mean, it wasn't as much media coverage as it is now.
Now that's different than what we're gonna have this time around. That was a gimmick. This is not gonna be a gimmick.
We'll see though. We have yet to see that. We'll see. They still have that dodgeball rule. Run and get the ball.
Hey, that's not a bad start to the game.
That's a terrible start, especially today. If you think about all the CTE.
But the XFL took football kicking out. So.
But that's worse than kicking. If I'm going down and I'm head up with you, that's worse than the kickoff. There's no blocking set up. There's nothing set up to protect the players' heads, which is that's a big deal right now. So that's not. They got to take that out.
But we can't talk about the old XFL because what that was is going to be totally different than what they're going to create now.
You got tackle/NFL.
You got named people like Bob Stoops involved. I don't see him as being involved with a gimmick.
Yeah, I like Bob Stoops. He gonna come out there with that old wishbone and get beat to death. But I like Bob Stoops. That's a good person to bring on.
I just think right now I see the XFL using what they saw this year from the AAF and making it better, and I see a chance where they're going to just overtake the AAF.
I don't think so, man. I mean, I've been looking at the news stories of the AAF. I think they're going to hold strong, and the XFL is going to have their own thing too. And the AAF may actually, they may actually extend to Detroit from what I've been seeing. So, Eminem been talking about it. He got some money. Some other Detroit people have been talking about it. So it may start to expand into some cities that have NFL teams, but the NFL teams are lackluster, which that will bring excitement and that will bring a lot of revenue. So
I could see that happening. I said it on prior podcasts, so I don't want anybody to think I'm saying it for the first time. Think about expansion and a merger between these two junior high leagues.
I don't think so. They got different philosophies. They have a whole different they have a whole different concept and a whole different direction of where they're
At the end of the day, you're trying to score touchdowns and stop the other team from scoring.
That's true.
And we can merge all the rules can be merged together. Just think, the NFL just brought out a pass interference rule after 100 years of existence.
So this is why I say they're not going to merge together. The XFL was created, and is going to be created again to be a standalone spring league. Like, it wants to be its own entity. It does not want to be a little brother. That's the XFL. Now, they're not going to attack the NFL. That was done on their part before. They're not going to do that again. They know that was stupid. But the AAF, they want to get guys exposure. They want to get guys up to the next level, which is the NFL, to get guys back to the next level.
The XFL want to do the same thing. They're just saying it in a different fashion.
No,
to me, it's like the AAF is begging the NFL, come on, let us help me, and we can help you.
Nah. The XFL, they're going to be bigger than the AAF. They're not going to feel like they farm system, man. Their pants, look, they already showed that their pants too big, man. Their egos too big.
That was old, but now
McMahon is still the same person.
That's true.
And I don't know if Donald Trump is even allowed to do this anymore, but he's going to try to weasel his way back into it to get it because he likes to be involved.
Nah, he's not going to be involved.
We don't know as of yet. He finds his ways into things, but it's not going to be the same. I like AAF. I like Hines Ward. I like Palmer. I like the way they have it set up with players from the NFL. I like the way they have it set up with actual, like they have an actual realistic view of what it can be versus the XFL.
It's a great conversation. I still think a merger is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years between the two leagues. I see it coming down the pipe. Now, if it becomes the minor league of the NFL, great. But the XFL, there's no way it can stand against the NFL because all the great players are already in the NFL. And there's no way they're going to pay that type of money. Julio Jones just got a $20 million contract.
Right. Yeah, no,
they're not paying that money.
They're not going to be. They're going to be the Canadian League of America.
Wow, that's disrespectful.
So I mean, the Canadian League is great, man. They got a whole draft system. They got look, the Canadian League. It's an amazing place.
I love Canada for everybody listening. That's not me saying that. I love you guys.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's going to be a little different. It's going to be not disrespectful because some people prefer off-brand cereal versus name-brand cereal. So it's just an off-brand cereal. You know, it's
XFL, Canadian Football League, he's going in. But, hey you guys are good with me.
Hey, you don't get set before the snap and all that good stuff, man. It's different. It's just a different brand, you know. It's an acquired taste. But I think the XFL, they're going to hold their own. They're going to be their own league. They're playing in big stadiums. They're going to draw crowds. You know, and hopefully the product is good. That's the main thing. As long as the product on the field is good. It should survive, but the AAF, I like it. I like it for what it is. So,
all right, good conversation, good football topics. I appreciate you coming in and joining us, and we're gonna definitely do this a lot more. I got to get somebody in here to debate with you because I see a good debate happening.
Hey, bring them on. Bring them on.
You guys just heard from A-Train.
Hey, Uncle Shannon Sharp. I will make you proud because I'm good with the debate, and I will be in Club Shay with my goat mask on, debating whoever comes to this table.
All right, you guys heard him. He's sending a shot at Uncle Shannon off of Undisputed. Good luck with that. We'll be back with you guys on Off the Cliff Sports. Cliff Jacks back at you here on Off the Cliff Sports. Remember, you can check out all the episodes on OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com. Or you can go to YouTube and check out the episodes Off the Cliff-Sports. Check out all the old ones and the new episodes when they drop Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time. Hot takes for you today. LeBron James is not going to be in the playoffs for the first time since 2004. 13 years of him being in the playoffs in 8 straight NBA Finals are about to come to an end. And it's all because of a badly constructed roster and his first major injury of his career. I'm not a Laker fan. I love the old legendary Laker players, but I even wasn't a fan back then because I'm a Bulls fan. But LeBron James coming to LA to me was not a move I would have rather him went somewhere else. But like a lot of people say, maybe it's more than basketball out here in the sunny LA city. who knows? I mean, I like the fact that these players know basketball is a sport they play just like a job. It's a job for them. They have a life outside of their job. And we need more and more players to step up and realize that. Around the NFL, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. has been traded to the Cleveland Browns. He's been off and on Instagram. At one point, he said he's going to go 0-30. Next thing you know, he's back on Instagram. So, he's going through some phases right now. The drama between Antonio Brown and the Pittsburgh Steelers, namely Big Ben and Juju Smith-Schuster, is still going on. Juju has been making posts. Antonio's been making posts. It's a lot of baby stuff going on, if you ask me. All of these guys are grown men making lots of money. One player's been traded, move on. You're with another team now. The players that's still there, move on. You didn't make the playoffs last year, so y'all have other things y'all should be worried about. The one thing I hate about our professional athletes, I love the sports, but they cry a lot. And I don't care which sport it is, they cry a lot. We need them to stop. Tiger Woods is competing in a match play tournament along with Rory McIlroy, Phil Mickelson, and normal cast of PGA professionals. It's a tournament down in Austin, Texas, sponsored by Dale. A lot of money involved in that tournament. Or actually, it's a match play tournament, so a lot of one-on-one golfing, which kind of is fun at times. I've done that before myself. To some harsher news, Conor McGregor, UFC fighter, boxed Floyd Mayweather once before, has retired from the UFC. Along with his retirements, there have been news that allegations of a sexual assault that probably forced him to retire to try to get his hands clean. I've never seen McGregor as this awesome athlete before or dominant fighter, but I don't watch a lot of UFC, so you guys would have to tell me, is he worth all the hype? I don't think he is. He's not even a heavyweight. Terrible news for Conor McGregor. Oh well. It's not a big sport anyway, I don't think. We're going to come back and get into our quote of the day, and I'm going to get you guys out of here. Off the Cliff Sports, quote of the day coming up. The quote of the day is going to come from the Kobe Bean Bryant, aka the Black Mamba. Kobe said, "I'll do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on the bench waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot." Again, Kobe Bryant said, "I'll do whatever it takes to win a game, whether it's sitting on the bench waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot." I don't think Kobe ever had to worry about doing those first two items. But the third one, hitting the game-winning shot, I think he did that a little bit, just a little bit. Kobe was in the news here recently. He was on a talk show and they were playing a game, or he had to decide to name or rank the top three players between himself, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James. So Kobe said he would put himself 1, MJ 2, and LeBron 3. Is anybody out there think Kobe the greatest of all time? Might be a conversation we have to have on our next show. It's been a great show. I love talking to you guys. I love sharing my opinions. I love listening to you share your opinions. Thanks for A-Train for joining in this week. We're going to talk to you next week on Off the Cliff Sports. This is your host, Cliff Jacks, and we're out. Peace.